What's up, guys? Welcome to another exciting episode of the Nerd Cave podcast. I am one of your hosts, Derek Diamond, joined along with
Robbie Rawls.
Robbie. We're not in the studio today.
We're not. We're actually outside in nature, if you can actually see that.
We're live on location.
We are.
In downtown Milton, Florida.
It's fun. This is actually one of our first Pokemon, I guess, the lure events where, we just come and drop lures for the great people of Milton, Florida.
Yeah, we've been here. We're recording at 7:20 p.m.
Mhm.
We've been here since 5. Pretty decent turnout.
I would say so.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 Pokestops that's in this immediate location, so we've been dropping lures whenever they've run out, and we've had a few people come up and talk with us, so it's been a fun event. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a little bit better if it was, not 90 degrees for the majority that we were out, but it's, the sun's going down, it's cooled down a lot, so
Yeah.
it's a lot better now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Zach could not be with us. He's had a very long week of band
Very
camp,
busy.
so he is resting, recuperating, and getting ready for another week. But we're here, holding down the fort, and I did want to get started because we've never really discussed Pokemon Go like in detail on the podcast, which is shocking.
Very shocking because we all enjoy it.
Yeah.
but-
So I wanted to start. I left a question on the Nerd Cave event that we did, just saying, hey, we'll be recording the podcast. If you have any questions, leave them here, kind of like we do on our Facebook group, which you can find at facebook.com/group/nerdcavenetwork.
Or you could just search Nerd Cave Network in that handy-dandy search bar, and
Exactly.
we'll pop up.
So first question is from Austin Hooks. Who is your favorite Pokemon? There's a lot to choose from.
There is. I have always used the fire type Pokemons in pretty much every game I've played, and the Charmander to Charizard evolution was always one of my favorite ones. But playing Pokemon Stadium, I have to tip my hat to Gengar.
Gengar, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's ghost type, so no normal attacks can hit it and stuff like that. So I mean, I always ended up using that one a lot. Once I got it, traded over and could finally evolve it, it was always one that kind of stayed close to my heart because it helped me take down a lot of gym leaders. And
Well, really, it's the only type that can combat Psychic.
Yeah.
In the original games.
So
That's a very good choice.
thank you.
I like
thank
that.
you.
Mine is very close. It's really a 1A and 1B. But because he is a starter, I will go with Squirtle. I've always been a fan of the water types. 9 times out of 10, as you can hear the train near us. But
We're live.
yeah, we are live. So I've always been a fan of the water type. Water's my favorite. And I always go with the water starter.
Yeah.
And he's a turtle. Who doesn't like turtles? And growing up a Ninja Turtles fan, I think, helped with that.
And you have the Squirtle Squad.
Yeah, he has really cool sunglasses, which I want a pair eventually just so I can see how bad I look in them. But,
I think you'd look beautiful.
well, I appreciate that. A really close second is Mewtwo.
If we're going with seconds, my favorite is the lovable Psyduck.
The biggest troll in Pokemon
I'm pretty
history.
sure that's why I liked him, especially in the show. Like, there's one, real iconic scene where he's, they're taking the picture, and he goes and sets the timer, and he waddles, and as he's about to take the picture, he falls. All you see is Psyduck laying on the ground, and then everybody else in the picture.
He was amazing in that show.
He was great comic relief.
Yeah, he was. He definitely was. Let's see. We've got one more Pokemon question from Bethany Parker. What are some positive things you were seeing that is resulting from this game? And this is really the biggest thing to me. My answer to that question is it's getting people out there that would normally just be, as we got a Pikachu here
Pikachu
off
over
camera.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. It's getting people out there, getting
Yeah.
people active. Most people would just sit at home and play video games. But with this one, you have to go out. You have to go, in this case, you have to go to downtown Pensacola, or you have to go
To the Riverwalk
yeah,
in
to
Milton,
the Riverwalk
Florida.
here to get Pokemon. You can't just sit at your house and get them.
Yep.
And like with hatching eggs, you have to walk 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 10. It's getting people out there. Like anytime I go out to run now, I turn the app on so that it counts towards hatching an egg. Like I hatched 3 eggs the other day.
And
Just running.
And that's awesome because you do have a lot of people who do struggle with, trying to keep weight off, and, that definitely leads to health issues. And being the nostalgic game that everybody grew up loving, like you look around here, you're seeing people anywhere from ages, 10, 15, all the way up to 40, 50, maybe even 60. So, I mean, it's just reaching a wide variety of in age-wise. The biggest story that touched home with me the most is there was this Army vet who had struggled with PTSD so much that he couldn't even go outside of his house. But he grew up loving Pokemon and all that stuff. And when this game came out, it helped him go out into the world with his child. So him and his child was actually able to go out to a park for like the first time since he was born. So, hearing stories like that, and when you hear that and people who are, attacking people for playing Pokemon Go, like, you're a loser, you need to go get a life and stuff like that, I always tell them that story, that, this game is helping more than it's hurting.
Yeah, it goes to the whole thing. People just seem to dislike things for the sake of disliking them. If
Trying
you
to be the
don't,
cool kid.
if you don't like it, then just don't play it.
Exactly.
And leave everyone else who loves it alone.
Yep.
Is really what I have to say.
Preach.
But it's just the concept of it. I remember hearing about it, and I was like, this could be one of the coolest games ever.
I agree.
And it's spread like wildfire. Like, so many people are playing this game. We've seen when the game's available in like Australia or Japan, the servers go down because that many people are playing it. And yes, it's frustrating, but it's also kind of cool knowing that something like that is just so popular and it's bringing people together.
I agree. Another awesome thing is people who are playing this game, like, you might not know this person walking down the road, but you have something that's connecting you to them. Everybody's playing Pokemon, so you can walk up and say, hey, what team are y'all? Mystic.
Yes.
See?
Go Mystic.
And then you have people who are Team Valor that you don't really listen to them. But see, this is what you get from this game. You have people who are able to connect, and it's just so awesome. Like, strangers you have never seen before, and you can just have a conversation about Pokemon. Who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah, exactly. And it's only going to get bigger as they release more updates and they add, Generation 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth.
Oh, my gosh.
How long do you see this game lasting? Like, do you see maybe the popularity waning a little bit once the nostalgia wears off?
I see some of the, I don't want to call them, like, the not, like, fans from the beginning, but people who are just kind of caught up in the trend. I could see some of them trickling off, but you just have so many people around the world, in the U.S., in the U.K., in Asia, that grew up loving this game. And as long as, Niantic and Pokemon and all them don't do anything like with an update to make things worse, I could see this being something that's, that's going to be trending for ages to come.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the more they have to add stuff fairly consistently, though.
Which they've already talked about, adding the ability to trade with people, being able to battle with people. So seeing that come into play would be, fantastic. But one thing I really want them to fix is the step counter. I want to know how close I am to a Charizard, or how close I am to that ever-elusive Pikachu.
Which in the update that just came out today as we're recording this, they removed the footprints, which I think is very good.
It is good because, you can't complain about it as much anymore. But, I want them to hurry up and figure out what's going on in the coding that's making this not work, because that actually helped me catch a crap ton of the Bulbasaurs that I caught, because I would remember I would walk outside my house and I'll start walking to the right down the road and I'll see the paw prints go up. So I'll turn around and walk the opposite way. And, it helps you figure out where they are instead of having to walk, 300 meters in every direction.
Definitely. But I hope this game keeps getting bigger. I think it will.
I do too.
I've loved it. I've had it since day one, and it's been great. I actually lied. We have one more Pokemon-related question.
No.
This is from our good friend, Mr. Derek Daniel.
Okay.
Shout out to Derek Daniel. In the spirit of Pokemon Go, since you can only have 6 Pokemon on you at one time, and if wrestlers were Pokemon, which 6 would you choose to be your team? I responded with, can I just have 6 John Cenas?
Who wouldn't want 6 John Cenas?
But then he said, but how would you see any to catch?
That is very
To
true.
which I said, touche.
Very good.
Which is very true. So I'll start off.
Okay.
I would have John Cena because he never loses. You got to have, he's kind of your all-around, all-around performer. You got to have someone like The Undertaker. So reliable and can just strike, and
I would see him being more of a ghost type.
like a Haunter or a Gengar, something like that. You got to have your quickness. So you got to have Rey Mysterio. Got to have Rey Mysterio.
Okay.
You got to have Randy Orton. He's like the Ekans or the Arbok. He's the Viper. You never know when he's going to strike.
You're taking every one of mine.
We can have the same people.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right, so that's 4. I think you got to have your young upstart. So I think you got to go with someone like a Seth Rollins, who is, again, an all-around performer. Maybe still a little unproven, but he can get the job done. I see him being, who would Seth Rollins be? He's a villain right now, so maybe a dark type. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about it on types. And then I'd round out my team with just, if all of them fail, I would go with the one who I knew would not, and that would be the Conqueror himself, Mr. Brock Lesnar.
It's a good one.
He would be, Machamp would be scared of him.
Oh, yeah, I agree. One that I would definitely throw in there would be kind of like my Machamp or Machoke, The Rock.
Oh, The Rock, yeah.
You see what I did there with the Rock type? Let's see. Just because his size, I would say Andre the Giant.
Yep.
I was also going to say Rey Mysterio. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
But Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The Rattlesnake, yep.
My Ekans.
You're going with the legendaries. I like it.
They're my legendary Pokemon. Let's see. I probably should have read that question so I could have been more well-informed. Well, the Great Khali would be a good one. He'd be like my meal tank. I would use Rollout all the time with him.
He would be your magic card.
Great Khali used Chop of Doom. Not very effective.
Nothing happened. I think you got one more.
Why not go with Triple H?
Time to play the game?
He'd be like my Ninetales.
Yeah. That were both good choices.
Appreciate it.
I like those teams. But no, I think Pokemon Go is just been, in closing, I'll say that it's just been really amazing to watch this grow. And we've even read there's going to be like a Harry Potter type game. So I think we're going to see a lot of Go type games. But I don't know if any of them will be able to match Pokemon, though.
I don't know. Excuse me. If the Harry Potter Go is a for sure thing, which we're not sure on at this point, I think that it could possibly come close or even completely overshadow Pokemon, because there is such a fan base behind Harry Potter that is just incredibly just crazy to think of.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it is coming out, I'm totally down for it.
Absolutely. So, not too much on the news front. There was something I read today that is going to make a lot of people unhappy. And that is following Season 8, which I'm not sure what season they're on, but after Season 8, Game of Thrones will be no more.
That hurts me right in the feels.
Now, I have not watched Game of Thrones. I know the hype behind it. I know you and Zach love it. You say it's amazing.
It definitely goes down as one of my all-time favorite shows. There's just not a lot of shows that get you so invested in characters, and they're just like, oh, you love this person? Guess what? He's
They're
gone.
dead.
You'll never see him again. Um, they've just had great character development. The fight scenes are always amazing. I know a lot of it. It's really not family friendly. I mean, that does take away from it because, you know, I love female anatomy, but I don't feel like it should be overly like sexualized like it is in Game of Thrones, because it is literally in the first few seasons it is everywhere.
Yeah.
So I could have lived without that so much, but all in all, it is a great show, and I do hate to hear that it is ending. But I would rather them end it along with the book than for them to be like, oh well, he's ending the book, but we're just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, George, his writing for that book is on fleek. It's so lit, it's not even funny.
I don't understand that term.
It is dope AF, man. I just got all the hip lingo right there at one.
I quit the show. But coming from someone who has not watched Game of Thrones, I'll say that now I'll probably wait until the show ends and then just watch it from beginning to end. But I think it's a good thing that they're ending it with the book, if that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Rather than try and do something that's unique and then it ends up falling flat on its face. I'm very interested to watch it just because I've heard that nothing but great things about it from people who have watched it. I know a lot of characters from Game of Thrones have gone on to movies. Like one girl was the new Jean Grey in Apocalypse. I have no idea who her character was in Game of Thrones, but it's showing that it's a very successful vehicle.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes into something that I wanted to talk about, and that's how successful now TV shows are compared to movies. Because really, if you look at it, the movies that have come out this year, yes, some of them have been really good, but money-wise, they haven't really been doing what you would think. But now people are migrating to these shows. Like, we've talked about the Marvel Netflix shows in detail, and there is something I want to talk about here in a second. But shows like Game of Thrones, Boardwalk Empire, really high-quality TV shows now are really on notice now. And, yeah, Game of Thrones is ending, but it still has a pretty good lifespan. I mean, it's going to go 8 seasons, and that's pretty good.
I want to say we just finished up season 6.
I have no idea.
I want to say that's what we're on right now. So, I mean, we still got, a while, a good few quarter miles to go.
Well, we do live life a quarter mile at a time here in the Nerd Cave. So something I wanted to talk about, and this kind of segues into more shows, The Defenders, and this was announced at Comic-Con. The Defenders is coming out next year, along with Season 1 of Iron Fist, and that will lead into The Defenders, which is Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Daredevil, and Jessica Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there will be more seasons of Daredevil and Jessica Jones, but not until 2018.
Yeah.
And Marvel has said they've wanted to make shows at a quicker pace. Because you got to think there's also The Punisher.
Yeah.
They've announced that. So do you think that we could possibly see too many shows at one time?
When it comes to these Netflix exclusive, I don't think we can get too many of them, because I have yet to watch a Netflix-produced, TV show or movie that is bad. I have thoroughly enjoyed all of them, and even with an Iron Fist, Luke Cage, new Jessica Jones, The Defenders, and all that stuff coming out, I really don't feel like it could be oversaturated.
I agree with that. I think they may have to bump it up to 3 shows, because you've got Luke Cage coming out in September, which looks amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Early 2017 you'll have Iron Fist, and then towards the end of the year you'll have Defenders.
Mm-hmm.
Now I wonder if they're going to try and put Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Punisher out, all three, in
At the same
2018.
time.
Maybe do Daredevil in February,
Yeah.
and then do Punisher in the summer, maybe June, and then in September or October you do Jessica Jones. Or you can really do it in any combination, but I think you got to do late winter, early spring, summer, and then fall/early winter.
Yeah, you definitely want to split them up a little bit so they're not all, coming out right there at the same time, because that could get messy.
That's true, and I think that what kind of hurts these Netflix shows in a way, and I was talking about this with somebody, the thing about binging them is great because you can sit over a weekend, but really after a month or so, the hype kind of dies down. Whereas with weekly shows like Game of Thrones, you hear like, oh, this episode was so good,
Yeah.
and it's stretched out over a longer lifespan. So I think that's the only drawback to it, but I still really prefer the Netflix exclusive route. And you're seeing more shows now.
Exactly. Like, I'm rewatching through House of Cards right now. Another great Netflix.
I got to watch that show.
I mean, it's just so good, and every time I see, that this has been, made by Netflix, I'm like, I'm putting this on my to be watched because I already know that this is going to be a great show.
While we're on the subject of Netflix shows, and we'll get into the rest of the news here in a second, you watched Stranger Things. I have watched Stranger Things. Now, we'll keep it spoiler-free because it's still relatively new. What did you think of it?
It took everything that I loved about E.T., The Goonies, and what little bit of Twin Peaks that I watched, and it put them in a blender, hit puree, and then bam, Stranger Things was born.
How long did it take you to get through the whole show?
I started at 12 o'clock and ended about 12 o'clock that night.
So you literally sat down and watched the whole thing.
I had the entire day off, and I can't remember who it was. They texted me. They were like, "Hey man, you want to go out tonight?" And I was on like the 4th episode. I was like, "I'm kind of busy tonight, man. Probably not gonna be able to go out and do anything." They're like, "Okay, man, maybe tomorrow." I was like, "Yeah, I can do tomorrow." And I just sat there and I watched the rest of Stranger Things. Fantastic show.
Like you said, it took everything great about the 80s and combined it all together and just made one unbelievable show. From the first 60 seconds, I was hooked. And everything from the way it's shot to the looks of the characters, the dialogue even. But what I love, arguably what I love the most, is the intro.
Oh my God.
The music, the font, which I downloaded that font and I'm going to use it for something. I don't know what, but I'm going to use it.
Did you see the GIF that you can make where you could send a message to your friends using the lights?
Yeah.
And I want to use that so bad.
But we'll give a spoiler-free description of what it's about. It's about these kids.
Mm-hmm.
They're just enjoying life, playing a nice game of Dungeons and Dragons.
Like everybody else.
Yeah.
Cool
I thought that was kind of cool, by the way. And Will, one of the kids, goes missing. And everyone from the local sheriff to his mom, which Winona Ryder, oh my God, her performance, that's her best performance I've ever seen.
It was fantastic. I can't say enough good things about the acting alone, even from the kids onto the adults.
There was one part where I don't think this is really giving anything away, but when they're looking for him in a place that they're not really supposed to be, and she just starts yelling Will, I actually yell out loud, "Shut the up. You're going to get caught."
Exactly.
But no, that whole thing, it's just, it's so good. It takes everything that I loved as a kid between Goonies, E.T., everything.
Yeah.
Is just, and actually we've got a Magikarp and a Slowpoke that's right about here.
Ah.
So
You
shout
got a little
out to Luvi who's helping us out with the camera.
Appreciate it, buddy.
But no, it's just it's so good. And like, to me, Winona Ryder's acting, if you can actually make me verbally yell at the TV, you've done something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If she does not at least get nominated for an Emmy, that is such a major injustice. Because, yeah, I've seen her in select things, but this was her best.
Yeah.
It was absolutely her best. And anyone who has not watched Stranger Things, as soon as you're finished watching this video,
Go
start
watch
it. I mean, you can sign up for a free month of Netflix. I tell people this when we're talking about the Marvel shows. You can get a free month of Netflix, sign up, and you can get through the whole thing in a day. He did it.
I was about to say, just keep creating new email addresses to put into the free. It's bad saying that, but I mean, like, you can. I won't say easily, because I neglected a lot of friends when I watched it all in one day. But I'm sure that they'll forgive me once they watch the show.
Absolutely. It's so good.
But it's definitely going to get nominated for something. You know, it has a fantastic soundtrack. Movie quality was amazing, and the acting was just outstanding.
And they're releasing the soundtrack, which is great. And I will be downloading that on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
So, moving on from Stranger Things, we did have Comic-Con this past weekend, and a lot of stuff came out.
Tasty things.
Comic-Con has been kind of disappointing the last couple of years, but this one between Marvel and DC, which my answer as to who won might actually surprise you, but
Okay.
I loved what DC brought to the table.
Like, the Wonder Woman little teaser that we got was just, I mean, it was
Ermagerd.
it was beautiful. I mean, you know, you see her in the new updated armor, like when
Color. It had
color.
color.
like you don't really see that much in DC anymore. But I'm glad that they brought that along. So many great things happened. I mean, I know we had
Justice League.
Justice League.
Looked so good.
So here you talk to Fish. Bruce just wants to get his butt whooped. Like, first, do you believe?
There's a
You will.
There's a meme I posted earlier today of Aquaman throwing Bruce Wayne onto the wall, and he's like, "We have to find Dory," and Aquaman says, "Why did you say that name?" Under it, Batman v Aquaman.
I saw another one. It was like, what's your mother name? And he was like, Aquamartha. And it was like, it had the Batman versus Aquaman. And I almost like peed my pants from laughing so hard at that.
Oh, that is so amazing.
Aquamartha.
That is so good. Going back to the Wonder Woman trailer, it reminded me of Captain America a little bit because it's a period piece, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, some people online were actually saying, "Oh, this is just DC's answer to Captain America." I didn't think that.
I agree.
It looked different enough to where it didn't, like, I thought of Captain America, but I assume something's going on behind me. Oh, hey guys. It's live.
It's live.
It's live.
Hey.
It's live. So, but no, Wonder Woman looked really good, action-packed. I'm interested to see the World War I tie-in.
Yeah.
The fact that she was created by Zeus. And what's cool is she was actually telling that to, I think it's Steve Trevor, or Trevor
Trevor's.
something, who's Chris Pine's character, and he's like, "Oh, neat."
Like, when he washes up on the shore, she's like, "You're a man?" It's like, "Are you telling me?" It looks fantastic. DC came out swinging at Comic-Con.
But I got to talk about Justice League.
Let's
because
talk about it.
the more I watch this trailer, the more I'm excited about it. And we were in the minority in liking Batman versus Superman, but this felt completely different. It felt kind of Marvel-like, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Bruce Wayne kind of reminded me of Tony Stark a little bit with trying to organize the Justice League and everything, but it looked different. There was actual color. Not everything's, like
Dark and gloomy.
drowned out saturation like in Batman versus Superman. But I loved the scene with Barry Allen. And we both watched The Flash, and we were disappointed when Grant Gustin wasn't cast. But I think Ezra Miller will be fine.
I do too. I mean, he looks really young. The Flash armored suit, kind of has that Power Ranger feel to it. I've had a lot of people say that it looks like the Red Power Ranger.
You want to know what it kind of reminded me of? His armor from Injustice.
Yeah,
The video game.
yeah. That might have been where they kind of leaned from
Yeah.
to get it. I mean, I think it looks really cool. I'm not sure he needs all that armor, but I still think it looks really cool. I mean, his acting that we just saw from that little piece was, on fleek.
I don't know if I like the lightning anytime that he runs fast or moves fast. I think that could get a little annoying.
Yeah.
But his face when he just moves over to the side and he sees the Batarang and he's like, oh boy.
I know who
And he's
that
like,
is.
can I keep this?
Yeah. I think it's going to have just the right amount of humor in it. Because that was the biggest issue a lot of people had with Batman versus Superman was how dark and gloomy it felt. And with them adding, humor and more colors, it already feels like a whole different breed of a monster than what Batman and Superman was.
You can also tell they're really trying to make Aquaman cool. With showing, him chugging the whiskey bottle, throwing it down, getting hit by water and not moving an inch. But I think Jason Momoa is going to make this role something cool.
I don't know who that is. His name's Khal Drogo.
Same thing. or Arthur Curry. And of course the line at the end, oh, Arthur Curry, I hear you can talk to fish.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Bruce, you're getting to be an old man now.
Like I said,
Don't be picking a fight with the metahumans.
he just wants his butt whooped.
And the suit looks a little different too, the bat suit. It looks more just full black. And I did like his line when Cyborg's like, I didn't think you were real, and he says, I'm real when it's useful.
Exactly.
Because this Batman is being portrayed as someone who's really not in the limelight that often, because very few people have even seen him, even though he's been around for 20 years. And I just think it looks great.
I do too.
And, of course, without Superman, but we know he'll be back because he was in the official photo.
Sooner or later.
I want him to come back with the long hair and the black suit, like in the Superman Doomsday story.
That would be really cool.
But no, I'm really, really excited for Justice League. And even the CW shows. We won't spoil. I know it's going to be hard not to, but there will be some changes that will affect all the shows.
Well, it's not really a spoiler if it's already in the new teaser trailer, is it? Would you say it is?
Sure. Well, let's go ahead and talk about it. If you have not watched last season of The Flash, Zach, we'll just fast forward through this. So, Flashpoint happens. At the end of Season 2, Barry goes back, stops the Reverse Flash from killing his mom, thus causing Flashpoint.
Flashpoint paradox.
We see the trailer. His parents are alive and well. Wally West is the Flash.
That was what I was like, oh my God.
But what the crazy thing is, Grant Gustin did a panel and he said that this will affect all of the CW shows, which I was hoping would happen.
It would, because they've already showed that all the shows are connected. Because you had Flash come on to Supergirl, you've had Flash and Arrow go back and forth, you've had Constantine come on Arrow. So if it didn't affect everything, I would have been kind of upset.
Random thing: Matt Ryan, who played Constantine, will be at Pensacon in February.
I saw that and I geeked.
I did too. He's now my number 2 interview prospect.
That's a good one to have.
Right behind the great Mick Foley. But no, I think it's good that it's affecting all of the shows because they're all connected.
Yeah.
And with it being something that big, it has to affect all of the other shows. And we've seen that Arrow is going to be a little more grounded in reality, which I think is the direction that show needs to go. I didn't really get that much of a vibe of anything from the Arrow trailer, but I think that's a good thing. I kind of want to go in not really knowing what's going on.
And see, that's the beauty of trailers back in the day, it told you what you needed to know, but it did not say, "Oh, here's Doomsday." You know,
Yeah.
I want to feel like I have a slight idea of what's going on in the movie, but I want to be surprised.
Yeah.
Surprise me.
Exactly. Now, there's a rumor going around. I don't know if you know
I
this.
didn't do it.
Allegedly. So, the CW DC shows. There's a rumor going around that a few known characters will be used. One is Oracle, which is Barbara Gordon. The other is Batman. Now, I have an idea of how they can get away with this.
Shoot.
Since we're doing Flashpoint, it's not showing Bruce Wayne
It's showing
as Batman.
the
It's
dad.
showing Thomas Wayne.
Oh.
If Thomas Wayne showed up as Batman and Arrow, that, my friend,
With guns.
would be sick.
With guns blazing. Oh my God.
Yes.
I'd be totes down
You
for
don't
that.
even have to mention Bruce Wayne by name.
No.
You can just say, "My son was killed." You do not have. You don't even have to really call him Batman.
How cool would it be to even see like not have it be like, you know, a big part, but like see a female Joker running around, as in
God.
Martha, which, you know,
Why did you say that name?
I would be. I'm perfectly fine with them doing that in Flashpoint. Like if they wouldn't have went the Flashpoint route, I would not have been, I guess, okay
Yeah.
with it. But
Well,
since-
they won't be able to use Bruce Wayne
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean, between Warner Brothers and then Fox is using young Bruce Wayne in Gotham, so there's a lot of legalities that are tied up
yeah.
to it. But I think they could get away with the Thomas Wayne
Yeah, yeah.
incarnation. I mean, it would just be so cool to see that in live action. And I absolutely love it. I mean, I think you can use Oracle or, Batgirl or Batwoman. It's rumored that Batwoman might be in Supergirl
okay.
because now Supergirl is connected with all of these as well, with Supergirl moving to CW.
Mhm.
I'm all for bringing in these new characters if
am
they are
too.
used right.
I'm excited to see Vixen, you know, come in
Mhm.
because, you know, she had the talisman that let her harness the spirit
Mhm.
of whatever animal she wanted. You know, seeing characters like that, you know, not that aren't that the ones that aren't in the limelight all the time, you know, seeing them come and have their abilities portrayed and everything would be, you know, something that's really cool.
Absolutely. Kind of moving on to the Marvel side of things. Spider-Man footage came out. I don't know if you saw it. It leaked online. It didn't show that much, but it did reveal that the villain will be Mr. Adrian Toomes, a.k.a. the Vulture, and he will be played by Michael Keaton.
I'm really excited to see Keaton back, you know, back on a superhero screen. I just wish that if they do the Vulture right, yeah, it's going to be really cool. But there's just so many Spider-Man villains. I'm wanting a Mysterio.
Michael Keaton would have been unbelievable as
Like,
Mysterio.
I'm just ready for them to break down and be like, I know you guys, you know, we've given you the Goblins, we've given you the Venoms. Here's Mysterio. Here's what you've been waiting for.
Yeah. Now, being the Spider-Man guru of the Nerd Cave, Vulture has never been a villain that I've particularly cared for. And knowing that he was more than likely going to be the villain in this, I was just kind of like, eh. But I think Michael Keaton, as good of an actor as he is, I think he can make this role his own.
Yeah.
And I think he can actually make the Vulture a cool character.
I think you can too.
And I think with tying it into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because the suit that he has is built from the alien tech that was left behind from the first Avengers. So I think that's a cool way of tying it into the universe, and then also having Robert Downey Jr. make an appearance as Tony Stark. It's rumored that Scarlett Johansson is going to be making an appearance as Black Widow.
That would be cool.
And another cool thing about this is, for all you Harry Potter fans, the Spider-Man movies are going to follow a similar formula, meaning they're going to showcase Peter Parker growing up. So say he's a sophomore in high school in Homecoming. The next year he'll be a junior or a senior.
Yeah.
Then he can be a freshman in college.
Okay.
It'll actually, the movies will follow him actually growing up,
That's gonna be
which
really
I
cool.
think is something unique to Marvel because all the characters are already adults. Seeing something like this, I think, can be kind of cool and can really give it a different vibe.
I think it would be too. That's one of the aspects of Harry Potter that I liked because you go back and you watch, the Goblet of Fire or the Sorcerer's Stone and all that stuff, and you just see it. You're like, wow, Daniel Radcliffe is so young here, and you go and watch, the Deathly Hallows, and he's older. Following, the age progression of everything will be really cool. I just hope they don't, I'm sure they won't, but have any like time mix up where. As he's getting older, so is, Robert Downey Jr., Bruce Banner, and all the,
Yeah,
I said Robert Downey Jr.,
Tony
Tony Stark.
Tony Stark. Anything else you'd like to cover from Comic-Con?
Since, Thor is a pretty cool character, I guess, there was some pretty big news about the movie that he's going to be in. The Hulk armor, the Gladiator armor for Planet Hulk.
It's going to be like the Marvel buddy team up, and I can't wait. Have you seen the Planet Hulk movie?
Yes.
It's one of the best Marvel stories I've ever seen.
I agree. Marvel doesn't do animated well, but
Planet Hulk and Doctor Strange are the exceptions.
Exactly. It was a home run, touchdown, hole in one, whatever you want to call it. It was beautiful. I mean, the way that they, introduced, like they were having to get rid of Hulk because of how bad his situation on Earth had become, and he goes to this planet and he becomes their savior.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's going to be good, and with it being, Thor and Hulk teaming up, they weren't in Civil War, so seeing their separate story, I think will be really cool. And that Planet Hulk aspect, like when I saw the arm piece, I'm just like, oh my god.
Like as everybody knows, I'm already a Thor fan, but seeing this just takes my excitement for Ragnarok to a whole another level.
And your boy Jeff Goldblum will be in it as well.
It's like Christmas.
Or
my birthday.
It is, as we're recording this, it's the day before your birthday, so happy early birthday, my friend.
Thank you.
Or if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on iTunes, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
How old are you now, Robbie?
I am 27 years old.
Man, I remember when I was 27.
Pepperidge Farms remembers.
I was hoping you would do. I was hoping you would do that.
We've had a lot of good times together, from high school band, plenty of band trips to JUMC fun times.
River House excursions.
Those River House days.
We'll have to save that for an After Dark special. So is there anything else you'd like to get into before we wrap this up? Because I have one more thing.
Just want to say Killing Joke was fantastic. I got to watch it.
Oh, good.
I hate I wasn't able to go with you guys and help with the Reacts video, but
which you can check out on YouTube.
Yeah. I thought it was amazing hearing those two iconic voices come back. Mark Hamill will forever be the Joker.
He's the best Joker of all time.
Anytime I read a comic that has the Joker in it, there's only one voice that I use, and it's Mark Hamill's.
Yeah, absolutely. That whole... What did you think of the prologue with Batgirl? Because people are very divided on that.
Now, I really enjoyed almost everything about Batgirl. I did hate the part where, the rooftop scene, don't want to spoil it. I felt like that could have been left out, but I know why they did it. They did it to kind of help you connect more with Batgirl. But
yeah, it was more to establish that personal connection, and then whenever she gets shot, you're supposed to feel worse for her.
Yeah.
So, last thing I wanted to get into before we close out, I want to give a lesson about critic reviews. Don't always believe every review that you read. There's a movie that I watched the other night called Jason Bourne.
Okay.
Big fan of the Bourne movies. I rewatched them recently to gear up for this new one. Then I started reading critic reviews saying this was easily the worst Bourne movie of all time. Oh, Matt Damon's barely in it. He has like 20 lines of dialogue, and I'm like, he didn't really talk that much in the other ones anyway. So I saw it, and it honestly might be my favorite.
Really?
Yes. It's very different than the other ones, but I've read that it's more accurate to the books, or something that would be more like in the books that these movies are based off of. But just to give a brief synopsis, Jason Bourne comes out of hiding to right a wrong that has been done.
Okay.
It wraps up a lot of the questions that were asked in the original trilogy while revealing some more personal details. But
Nice.
Matt Damon was great. Yeah, he doesn't talk that much, but he didn't in the other ones.
Yeah.
It has a car chase scene in Vegas that is so intense. Like, I was literally on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Looks like I have a new movie that I have to hurry up and go
It's
watch.
very, very good. And Tommy Lee Jones, he's Tommy Lee Jones.
I was going to say, when has he ever had a bad role?
I tell people, when Tommy Lee Jones shows up, you know that it's real.
Man of the house.
Maybe that's the exception to the rule. But anyway, go see Jason Bourne. If you're a fan of the first 3 movies, you'll like it. Don't always believe what the critics say. Go to a movie if you really want to go see it. Go to it and form your own opinion. I mean, we did that with Batman vs. Superman.
Yep.
A lot of people said it was awful, but we ended up liking it. So that's what I have to say in
That's
closing.
all I got to say about that.
That's all I have to say about that. So, few changes going on in the world of the Nerd Cave. We have officially launched our Patreon, which you can find at patreon.com/nerdcave. We very much appreciate the support. If you can't, we totally understand. Just to describe some of the tiers you get, for just $1, you get a bonus episode of the Nerd Cave podcast, and you'll get a new episode once a month that will be exclusive to Patreon.
And a picture of me.
And a picture of Robbie. Higher tiers include getting early access to all the podcasts, not just the Nerd Cave, but the Derek Diamond Experience, Fantasy Football for Nerds, Nerd Cave Retro, all of them.
Yeah.
You get, you could possibly appear on the Nerd Cave podcast as a guest. You could have a Skype conversation with the 3 of us. Just go to patreon.com/nerdcave and check that out if it suits your fancy.
Yeah, we've also launched a new Nerd Cave Gaming
YouTube channel.
We're going to have 2 channels, one for our reacts, one for our top 5s and other things, and Nerd Cave Gaming is just going to be exclusively our Let's Plays, and anytime we talk about any type of games or anything like that.
Definitely. You can check us out on social media. We're also going through a little rebranding with that as well. Instead of Nerd Cave Network, everything will be at Nerd Cave.
Yes.
So if you're subscribed to us on Twitter, Facebook, you'll notice that change. You won't have to resubscribe.
Yeah.
But you can check us out at Nerd Cave. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So anything else, my friend?
Life is like a box of chocolates.
You never know what you're going to get. I will say this in closing. I give you major props for coming up with this Pokemon idea. I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can tell it's night outside. We had to turn the light on the camera.
Yeah.
But I thought this was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, this gives us a chance to, get out into the community, meet people, that we might not know. Like, I mean, a lot of people don't really know about us in this area. So, just getting our names out there and, building that connection with people is what it's really all about.
Absolutely. All right, well, this has been Derek.
And Robbie.
Have a week.